interest. In some cases, this fallacy involves substituting an attack on a person's circumstances, such as the person's religion, political affiliation, ethnic background, etc. Closing parenthesis. The fallacy has the following forms. Person A makes claim X. Person B asserts that A makes claim X because it is in A's interest to claim X. Therefore, claim X is false. Person A makes claim X. Person B makes an attack on A's circumstances. Therefore, X is false. A circumstantial ad hominem is a fallacy because a person's interests and circumstances have no bearing on the truth or falsity of the claim being made. While a person's interests will provide them with motives to support certain claims, the claims stand or fall on their own. It is also the case that a person's circumstances, religion, political affiliation, etc. Closing parenthesis, do not affect the truth or falsity of the claim. This is made quite clear by the following example. Bill claims that 1 + 1 = 2. But he is a Republican, so his claim is false. There are times when it is prudent to be suspicious of a person's claims, such as when it is evident that the claims are being biased by the person's interests. For example, if a tobacco company representative claims that tobacco does not cause cancer, it would be prudent to not simply accept the claim. This is because the person has a motivation to make the claim, whether it is true or not. However, the mere fact that the person has a motivation to make the claim does not make it false. For example, suppose a parent tells her son that sticking a fork in a light socket would be dangerous. Simply because she has a motivation to say this obviously does not make her claim false. Examples of circumstantial ad hominem. She asserts that we need more military spending, but that is false, since she is only saying it because she is a Republican. I think that we should reject what Father Jones has to say about the ethical issues of abortion because he is a Catholic priest. After all, Father Jones is required to hold such views. Of course, the senator from Maine opposes a reduction in naval spending. After all, Bath Iron Works, which produces warships, is in Maine. Bill claims that tax breaks for corporations increases development. Of course, Bill is the CEO of a fallacy. Composition. Description of composition. The fallacy of composition is committed when a conclusion is drawn about a whole based on the features of its constituents when, in fact, no justification provided for the inference. There are actually two types of this fallacy, both of which are known by the same name. Because of the high degree of similarity. The first type of fallacy of composition arises when a person reasons from the characteristics of individual members of a class or group to a conclusion regarding the characteristics of the entire class or group, taken as a whole. More formally, the reasoning would look something like this. Individual F things have characteristics A, B, C, etc. Therefore, the whole class of F things has characteristics A, B, C, etc. This line of reasoning is fallacious because the mere fact that individuals have certain characteristics does not in itself guarantee that the class, taken as a whole, has those characteristics. It is important to note that drawing an inference about the characteristics of a class based on the characteristics of its individual members is not always fallacious. In some cases, sufficient justification can be provided to warrant the conclusion. For example, it is true that an individual rich person has more wealth than an individual poor person. In some nations, such as the U.S., it is true that the class of wealthy people has more wealth as a whole than does the class of poor people. In this case, the evidence used would warrant the inference and the fallacy of composition would not be committed. The second type of fallacy of composition is committed when it is concluded that what is true of the parts of a whole must be true of the whole without there being adequate justification for the claim. More formally, the line of reasoning would be as follows. The parts of the whole X have characteristics A, B, C, etc. Therefore, the whole X must have characteristics A, B, C. that this sort of reasoning is fallacious because it cannot be inferred that simply because the parts of a complex whole have, or lack, certain properties that the whole that they are parts of has those properties. This is especially clear in math. The numbers 1 and 3 are both odd. 1 and 3 are parts of 4. Therefore, the number 4 is odd. It must be noted that reasoning from the properties of the parts to the properties of the whole is not always fallacious. If there is justification for the inference from parts to the whole, then the reasoning is not fallacious. For example, if every part of the human body is made of matter, then it would not be an error in reasoning to conclude that the whole human body is made of matter. Similarly, if every part of a structure is made of brick, there is no fallacy committed when one concludes that the whole structure is made of brick. Examples of composition. A main battle tank uses more fuel than a car. Therefore, the main battle tanks use up more of the available fuel in the world than do all the cars. A tiger eats more food than a human being. Therefore, tigers, as a group, eat more food than do all the humans on the earth. Atoms are colorless. Cats are made of atoms, so cats are colorless. Every player on the team is a superstar and a great player, so the team is a great team. This is fallacious since the superstars might not be able to play together very well and hence they could be a lousy team. Each part of the show, from the special effects to the acting, is a masterpiece. So, the whole show is a masterpiece. This is fallacious since a show could have great acting, great special effects and such, yet still fail to come together to make a masterpiece. Come on, you like beef potatoes and green beans, so you will like this beef potato and green bean casserole. This is fallacious for the same reason that the following is fallacious. You like eggs, ice cream, pizza, cake, fish, jello, chicken, taco sauce, soda, oranges, milk, egg rolls, and yogurt, so you must like this yummy dish made out of all of them. Sodium and chloride are both dangerous to humans. Therefore, any combination of sodium and chloride will be dangerous to humans. Fallacy. Confusing cause and effect. Also known as questionable cause. Description of confusing cause and effect. Confusing cause and effect is a fallacy that has the following general form. A and B regularly occur together. Therefore, A is the cause of B. This fallacy requires that there is not, in fact, a common cause that actually causes both A and B. This fallacy is committed when a person assumes that one event must cause another just because the events occur together. More formally, this fallacy involves drawing the conclusion that A is the cause of B simply because A and B are in regular conjunction, and there is not a common cause that is actually the cause of A and B. The mistake being made is that the causal conclusion is being drawn without adequate justification. In some cases, it will be evident that the fallacy is being committed. For example, a person might claim that an illness was caused by a person getting a fever. In this case, it would be quite clear that the fever was caused by illness and not the other way around. In other cases, the fallacy is not always evident. One factor that makes causal reasoning quite difficult is that it is not always evident what is the cause and what is the effect. For example, a problem child might be the cause of the parents being short-tempered, or the short temper of the parents might be the cause of the child being problematic. The difficulty is increased by the fact that some situations might involve feedback. For example, the parent's temper might cause the child to become problematic and the